Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. There are consoles you grow out of, and then there's the Game Boy Advance. For me, the GBA wasn't just a handheld, it was the console. It was the system where franchises were refined, risks were taken, and some of the best 2D games ever made quietly dropped into our hands. Today, I'm counting down my personal top 10 favorite Game Boy Advance games, ranked not just on quality, but on impact, replayability, and why I still think about them today. If you enjoy this kind of content, go ahead and like the video and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. All right, let's get into it. On paper, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 should not work on the Game Boy Advance, but somehow it absolutely does. This version stripped things down to a top-down isometric view, yet still captured the flow, the combo system, and that just one more run addiction. It wasn't trying to compete with console versions, it adapted intelligently. For me, this game proved something important early on. The GBA could handle real games, not watered down side projects. Coming in at number 9, Mother 3 is one of the most emotional, powerful RPGs ever made. Even though it never officially released outside of Japan, its fan translation turned into a rite of passage for GBA fans. The writing is weird, heartbreaking, funny, and deeply human. What makes Mother 3 special to me is that it doesn't rely on spectacle. It relies on characters, silence, music, and emotional timing. It's the kind of game that stays with you long after the screen turns off. This was one of my gateways into tactical RPGs. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance takes the deep, chess-like combat of the original and layers it with something uniquely GBA era, the judge system. Every battle having rules forced you to adapt instead of brute forcing your way through. It taught me patience, it taught me strategy, and honestly, it taught me how punishing games could still be fair. I sunk hundreds of hours into this game, and I still go back to it even to this day. Final Fantasy VI didn't need to be good on GBA. It already was one of the greatest RPGs ever made, but the advanced version made it portable, and that changed everything. This is a game about loss, identity, and rebuilding after failure, themes that hit harder the older you get. Kefka is still one of the game's greatest villains, and the ensemble cast feels unmatched even today. Playing this on a handheld felt unreal back then. Advance Wars is pure distilled strategy, bright colors, charming characters, and underneath it all, brutal decision making. One wrong move and an entire match could collapse. What I love most about Advance Wars is how readable it is. No fluff, no padding, just tactical brilliance. It's a game that looks friendly but absolutely demands respect. This cartridge is doing double duty and it earns it. A Link to the Past is already legendary, but the GBA version refined it with quality of life improvements while keeping the soul intact. Four Swords, though, that was magic. Multiplayer Zelda on a handheld felt revolutionary at the time. It was chaotic, cooperative, and unlike anything else Nintendo was doing. This game made Zelda feel social in a brand new way. Now with this one, I refuse to separate these. Zero Mission modernized the original Metroid perfectly. Clean controls, smarter level design, and a sense of exploration that still holds up. While Fusion, on the other hand, flipped the formula. More narrative, more tension, and more fear. Together, they represent Metroid at its absolute best on handheld. The pixel art, the atmosphere, the music, none of it has aged. Now, coming in at number 3, we have Pokémon Emerald is the definitive Gen 3 experience. It took Ruby and Sapphire and polished everything. Better pacing, better post-game, and the battle frontier, which alone could justify the cartridge. Emerald feels like the point where Pokemon truly understood its systems. It rewards mastery, not just completion. To this day, it's one of the most replayable Pokemon games ever made. This was the first Fire Emblem many of us ever played, and it nailed the landing. Permadeath, tactical depth, characters you actually cared about. Fire Emblem on GBA felt serious in a way most handheld games didn't. It wasn't just strategy, it was emotional investment. Losing a unit actually hurt and victories felt earned. This game didn't just introduce Fire Emblem to the West, it defined it. For me, this is the crown jewel of the Game Boy Advance era. The Minish cap is absolutely amazing. Shrinking mechanics, kinstones, expressive animations, and one of the most charming art styles Zelda has ever had. This game feels playful, innovative, and confident in a way that few entries do. Every time I replay it, I'm reminded why I fell in love with games in the first place. The Game Boy Advance wasn't just a handheld, it was a proving ground. These games don't rely on raw power, they relied on design, intent, and heart. And that's why so many of them still hold up today. So now I want to hear from you. What's your favorite GBA game? Which one did I leave out? And do you think the GBA era is Nintendo's most underrated generation? Sound off in the comments down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more Nintendo news.